This episode is brought to you by Crow's Craft Brewing Company. Crow's Craft, the nonconformist. Consumption of alcoholic beverage impairs your ability to drive a car or operate machinery and may cause detrimental health problems. Drink responsibly.
So, but I gotta ask. I mean, this is tough. This or that.
Wait. I want to add. Kath skipped on a big part of how I actually met her and stuff. Kath, Coyote Ugly features hot girls selling alcohol and products and bartending. Weren't you a promo girl at some point when you started bartending?
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna step back for a while.
My girlfriend was partners with her.
Yeah. Actually, John Joe's girlfriend and I would go back like
Wait. Partners? I mean partners in business. Welcome to episode 6 of Crow's Talk. And our guest this evening is Kathryn Eckstein or Eckstein. Here we go. Kat is in the house. Kathryn Eckstein or Eckstein?
Eckstein.
Eckstein.
Yes.
Eckstein from the house of Stein.
Nice.
Okay. Now,
Wait.
You know, I had a hard time. I really didn't know how to pronounce it. I said, John Joe, man, you're gonna help me out here. He goes, ask her yourself. What is it? Eckstein? You know what I mean? So,
Actually,
yeah.
Eckstein means cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool. That's
In
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, Kathryn, how many AKAs do you have? You have Kath.
I have Kath. There's Ek.
That's cool.
There's Bar Dominatrix, which is my favorite.
Wow.
You got Bar Mama. You know, I'm easy. Whatever. You know. Yeah.
What was your frisbee name? You had a frisbee name.
Fat Cat.
There you go.
Fat Cat.
H, not F. Yeah.
Wow, we've got so much to talk about. I mean, I'm curious about this whole, and you know, one of the first things I want to, set the predicate, right, of who you are and why everybody seems to know you is, look at that. You know, look at what's going on. You're everywhere, right? You a lot of accolades, a lot of you've done a lot of being a brand ambassador for a lot of liquor companies. And Kath, can you tell us a little bit about how this all started? I mean, when did it start? When did you decide to go behind the bar and make drinks?
Wow. You guys, are you sure you have time?
Oh, we have time. We have time.
Okay.
But I just want to know that tipping point where you said, was it a movie? Was it something you traveled and you saw this? What took the whole thing to make things happen?
Well, basically, hospitality really is in my blood. My dad is an executive chef. We grew up, everyone asks me, you know, when I tell them, oh, I've lived in Jakarta, I've lived in Hong Kong, I've lived in Singapore, I've lived in Sri Lanka, I've lived in Indonesia. And then the first thing they ask me is, are you an army brat? And I'm like, no, I'm in hospitality. And it's because, you know, basically grew up in hotels and it's in my blood. And I always wanted to follow in my dad's footsteps. But he always discouraged me. He said, Kath, it's a hard life. You don't want to get into culinary arts. It's really difficult. And as much as I tried to veer away from it, it always just kept calling me, you know? And then...
So your dad never forced you to do any... I mean, he was actually dissuading you.
Yes, he was like, get into corporate, get into something else besides the hospitality industry. Um, but I love it. I love talking to guests. I love being behind the bar. And if I wasn't going to be in culinary, what's the next best thing? It's going to be into being a liquid chef, really. So
Okay. I
at
like
an
that. I
early,
haven't heard that. Liquid chef.
you know,
Okay.
I think I've since a very young age I've understood flavors and how they work together. And I sometimes I surprise myself. Even my husband always says, we only had this dish one time. You were able to recreate it at home. I'm like, well, you can taste it, you can smell it, and it's really thanks to my dad. He wasn't exactly the most, um, patient person in the kitchen, but I did learn a lot from him. But yeah, I think it's just really in my blood, talaga. I can't get away from it. I really love it. Oh, there it is
Well,
again.
I have to ask this question because I myself
Right.
am ignorant. What is the damn difference between being a bartender and a mixologist?
I'm labeled as a mixologist, and I hate the term basically. But a lot of people that are labeled bartenders want to be called mixologists. But really, in essence, it's really understanding um, how. I guess for me, I'm not really about the recipes per se. I'm really about guest experience. That's why I became a bartender. It's because I love making my guests happy, and it's really about them. So I think, well, if you want to really know the difference, I think it's like a bartender is a cook who follows a recipe, and then they bust out the dish. And mixologist really is someone who's the head chef who comes up with recipes or new cocktails, for example.
Okay, so it's not necessarily the number of tools in front of you. So a bartender, let's say, for example, I'm going to hire a bartender. He or she should know how to do a gin and tonic, a Negroni,
Yeah.
a margarita, all these things, right? It's all set out. So that's a bartender. He can tend the bar with the
Yeah.
most common drinks that are readily available in any bar. Is that what
Right.
you would if you were to define bartender? That's it.
Right. For sure.
Mixology is okay. You were saying mixology is more on the creative process.
Yeah, I think so. And it's more about, I guess, coming up with new recipes, trying out new flavors, and being more. Well, you have to know the classics to be able to understand how new cocktails work or new recipes, and how to make a liqueur, how to make something that's fermented, or to make a tincture, for example. So
Mhm.
there is a science behind it, but basically,
So is it
I,
okay? There's a
it doesn't
science, but
matter. It
it
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
What I
I mean,
gather
yeah.
is that mixologists are like the scientists, and then when you're a bartender, you're like in the pharmaceutical area where you're just distributing it already. You're there. You're front of house. The
Uh-huh.
mixologists are behind the house that you don't really see often. That's why it's nice to see when a mixologist is making a drink live in front of you. It's like seeing how scientists actually come up with new medicines, new technologies, and stuff like that. That's what I
Right,
gather.
right. So is there a term for the craft brewing industry for mixology? Is there brewology or something? I don't know.
Mad
Something more.
scientist.
Yeah.
No, because
Yeah.
things are changing, right? I mean, people are going really out of bounds on the rules. And
Yeah.
we can have another brewer here one time and talk about all the different styles in beers that have changed, through the years. And so it's really crazy, right? But
For sure.
yeah, so that's interesting. So it's partly art and science, right? Because I mean, when I look at different mixologists perform, it's like a performance, right? Behind the bar, and they've got all these different types of garnish and smoke, and it's just like whoa. And
The
then suddenly,
infusions.
yeah, and when you're given the cocktail, right? They're like you don't know whether to drink it or you put it up in a pedestal or something, right? Because
Right,
it's
right.
just incredibly wow, right? So
You know,
what do you say about that? Is that something within you believe in all the different kinds of garnish and smokes and micro whatevers?
I'm always as I mentioned, I'm all about the guest experience. I just love to make my guests happy. But I'm from the dinosaur era of cocktails, the cocktail culture with Tom Cruise, behind the bar, like
Mhm.
making a Cuba Libre, and the waitress is like saying, why didn't you just fucking ask for a rum and coke, dude? Like, like that sort of thing, and
Right.
it was really messy back then, and it's about like the weird, blue curacao and like the weird, those shots that have like the brain in it.
Yeah.
Like that. It was a
But
really
when you got into this business, in this passion of yours,
yeah.
it was not very complicated back then. Like you were saying, you're old school. When you came in,
Yeah.
was there a lot of mixology going on already, or it was still the start?
Back then, which was a long time ago, we
That's
didn't have
fine.
we didn't have the internet to look up these recipes.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
really had to learn on the job or buy books. And I did, it was a mixture of both. I think I did buy a lot of books. I remember going into the bookstore, buying these different books. And it was also kind of difficult because you would see one recipe for a kamikaze be slightly different from another book that's saying like, okay, this is the recipe for a kamikaze, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think I stem from where it was really not about really how great the cocktail tasted. It was really about like
The
how, when
performance.
your guest comes in and you're like, hey John, hey, how are you? Like I heard you got a promotion. Like, hey, welcome back. You want your favorite, your favorite booth, etc., etc. It was really
Right.
about, for me, my motivation really was about the tips, because back then it was from, money was from hand to mouth,
Right.
basically.
Right.
And
Right.
basically, I had returning guests and people would really come to see me because they loved, where, like that sitcom Cheers, where everybody
Yeah.
knows you.
Mhm.
That's why they always go back there. And
And
so,
it's different also because like correct me if I'm wrong, but in the local scene, when we would go to a bar and you'd ask for a drink, there
yeah,
wasn't really any rapport between the client and the bartender or the mixologist. But like in Spain or in the US, you make it a point that you have eye contact with
yeah.
the person behind the bar who's making your drink. There's a little bit more respect, right?
Right, right. For sure. I was lucky enough to experience all aspects of that. I worked in Guam, and it was very much like, knowing everyone's first name, and
Mm.
knowing someone's favorite booth at the bar, remembering their favorite cocktail. And then, actually it was more of the hospitality that came first. And then if the drink tasted great, that was a
And
bonus.
both.
Yeah, I think I
That was
think
a bonus. That wasn't like, it wasn't like if you go into the bar to get plastered, basically.
yeah.
But I think I'm proud to say that I was able to deliver both, because I'm not just gonna give some, my my guests, like shitty
You're
tasting
not
drink.
forcing drinks on them. That's why
Yeah,
it's good practice to also ask like, oh, how do you feel today? Would you like something strong? Would you like
yeah,
something light? Are you feeling adventurous today? Do you want to try something new that I think will fit you? Something
for
like that.
sure.
It makes it
So,
personal.
I guess to address what you're saying about like this, what you call the smoke and mirrors, right? It's really the, I have to say, I have to quote my mentor, Lauren Mote, who is the global cocktailian. You know,
Wow.
yeah,
Wait. Can you repeat that? Who is she? Glow?
she's a global cocktailian.
Okay, and her
So,
name is?
Lauren Mote.
Okay, I'm gonna look Lauren. Yeah,
Right.
I just want to know more about her. Yeah.
Always says that we live in the belly puck right now of cocktail culture. We are at the epicenter. We are at the top, where it's really about artistry. It's about recognizing the bartender. It's about recognizing flavors. And because now we have technology, we have access to different fruits from all over the world. You know, the
Right.
calamansi is just shining right now, you know, which I love.
That's
It was
awesome.
always about, like, you know, like the lime cordial, that bright neon green crap that you buy from the supermarket. That was as
Yeah.
close as lime that we could get back then.
Yeah.
You know, and now, and we're like, oh, you would tell a guest like, sorry, we only have calamansi. But now it's like
Now
the
it's like,
calamansi.
yeah,
Yeah, they're like, calamansi.
exactly.
Oh wow, we want that. Every
We had to
bar.
make sure we put that in our gin, right? One of the
Yeah.
Yep.
23
For
botanicals.
sure.
Kath, I gotta
And-
ask you this because the word cocktail has been coming out. What the hell? Okay, where does it come from? Cocktail. Sorry, I just have to ask. Since when did a drink behind a bar become a cocktail?
Whew. Okay, history
I don't have
lesson.
to. Don't.
Okay.
You don't have to tell me
That
the
goes
year and whatnot.
way behind.
I'm just so curious. How
Yeah,
can
yeah.
a cocktail be a drink?
Okay, well, you know, if you go way back when we had, you know, we had whiskey, and you know, we didn't have ice yet back then, and we had our angostura, we had our bitters, and you know, of course whiskey back then didn't taste great, so you needed something to make it taste better. So you would add sugar, you know, and
Okay.
you would add some bitters to it, you know, to balance it all out.
Right.
And then you put it in a little, what you call, like, you know, like what you call this, a jigger, right?
Mhm.
So this was what you call, it looks like an egg,
Yeah, the egg holders in British
An egg holder,
colonies.
right?
Oh
And,
yeah, the one where you crack the egg
Yep,
and have
that's-
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So these were called cocotier in French. Cocotier,
Okay.
where you put the boiled egg, right? The soft boiled egg in these.
Right. Okay.
And then these became like measuring tools for the cocktails, right?
Right.
And okay, so for your mixed drinks. So of course, when you go to New Orleans, it's a different kind of French. So from the cocotier, it became cocotel.
Cocktail.
Yeah,
In English.
cocotel, because it was a different pronunciation of the cocotier.
Oops.
So
See?
so it became
John
a,
Joe, did you know this? Did
No,
you
I
know this?
didn't. Yeah, I learned in typical bars. Na parang, oh, this is one jigger, this is one shot, this is your.
So the cocktail
So it
word
became the- yeah,
came
yeah.
from a French mispronunciation. That's
Yes,
basically it.
yeah, so it was a cocktail, and then it
Okay.
became a cocktail, right? So
You won't believe what I thought. Okay, without Googling it, I said, you know what?
okay,
I was trying to figure out what the hell, why would a drink be called a cocktail? So I probably figured, I said, okay, maybe they use the feather of the damn cock
To garnish.
to garnish the drink, and there's your cocktail.
you know, there are so many different interpretations. Like there are so many historians who say that, you know, the tail of the cock is like super fancy, and when you have a cocktail, you feel like super, you know,
Yeah, it's
you're
like peacocking. You're the boss. You're
yeah,
like,
Yeah,
you're,
you're
it's
the-
like,
you're the-
you're
yeah.
bright. You're the
you're
star.
confident. You want to show your feathers and all of
Mhm.
that, right?
Exactly. Okay,
But,
I got something for you to go through here, Kath. Okay,
Sure.
So here, well, basically, I just took a photo of a bartender and a mixologist based on Google, and they look exactly the same. So
Okay.
exactly what you were saying. I don't know, people like labeling
Yeah.
these professions and passions, but at the end of the day, I think they're one and the same.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a segment called This or That. Here's
All
the
right.
thing, Kath. You have to choose only one. Okay?
Okay.
So it's either this or that.
Okay.
So what are you choosing?
That.
The shaker.
Yeah.
Okay, John Joe, do you even know what the hell the thing is on this?
It's called the muddler. You muddle.
Oh, the guy knows it's a muffler. Sorry, I never knew that. I never knew that.
No,
I thought I got you there.
That's
I thought
actually what you use to crush mint leaves for mojitos.
Yeah.
And then sometimes for oranges and lemons, if you just want to get the zest or the juice, that's what
Yeah.
you use to grind it, to pound it. And then
Oh.
the photos that you showed after, that's why there's a strainer, is to strain the fruits that you muddled.
Mm-hmm.
That you okay. So,
Well, basically,
Kath,
yeah.
you chose the shaker. Why?
You know, it's really what identifies me as a bartender. Really, I mean, I would choose that any day, for sure. And what you have here
Is it because you have your own ritmo when you do your shaking? I mean, sometimes you watch these guys from across the bar, right? They have their own parang ratata,
Yeah.
ratata. You know what I mean? So, I mean, how do you have a specific, movement with the shaker, or it depends on the drink?
Are you talking about my like a signature shake? Is that what you're
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I
a
mean-
particular a dance or a movement.
Yes, it's I think a bartender shake really is their signature. It's really how they move, and everyone has their own different style.
Mm-hmm.
There's no necessarily there. I mean, there's no right or wrong way how to shake a
But
cocktail.
I guess it goes down to the whole performance again, right? I mean, Kat, when you're behind the bar, you're doing a drink, it takes some time before the drink is served. So I guess,
Right.
you don't want any dead air. You got to do something right. So if you're just going to stare at this guy to make a drink, but then if it becomes a performance,
Right.
then it becomes more, you know what I mean? Right?
Right, for sure.
And I think it also matters what kind of ice is put in there. When it's bigger ice, it takes a lot more effort to crush it rather than when it's tube ice, when it's hollowed out. Then you can kind of relax. You can kind of do a samba.
Kat, do you
when it's
agree, or
pure
is this
ice,
guy full of shit?
it's harder to shake cool ice.
I'm retired. Why do you mean?
Sorry.
I'm
I'm having this,
No, but- Yeah.
reposado, by the way, which is, oh my God. Okay, I gotta tell you, Kat, if I should have brought you one of these bottles. This is
Yeah.
our de puta madre that's been resting on an oak barrel for some time, and it's like, in fact, I'm gonna share it with El Director. Director, you can have
Wow.
some.
All right, but
Man.
Kat,
I was looking
let's-
for beer kanina.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's clear the air. Ice
Sorry.
matters, diba? Ice really matters. The type of ice that you get,
Wow.
correct?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the ice and the shape of the ice is really another tool for a bartender. If you
Yeah.
want more aeration in your cocktail, you want bigger ice cubes in your shaker when you're shaking. And then, of course, if you want more dilution, you want smaller ice. It really does matter.
This is like Mixology 101 right here, right?
Right,
This is
for
good.
sure.
I didn't even know that. Okay, moving on. Boom.
Yes.
This or that.
Oh, this is hard, man.
I know,
Especially
right?
now with everything happening.
Oh, geez, John. Thanks for putting me on the spot. Well,
John Joe, do you know their names?
Definitely Frida, and then that is, geez.
Come on, Kath, help
It's
him
Maya.
out.
Maya
No.
Angelou.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maya
Yes,
Angelou. She's
spot
the one
on,
at the back of
Maya.
the bus. Yeah.
Exactly.
So for me, it would be that. It would be her work.
That sounded so. I just paused there because I didn't know whether she was really in the back of the bus. Was she in the back of the bus? Because our director's freaking out, right? It's like, are you sure that she was the one in the back of the bus?
Okay, we're gonna edit this for sure.
Trust me,
we're
we
not.
do not edit
No.
shit like this. But we're gonna get so much hate mail. It's unreal. Anyway,
Oh my God.
Peace.
Okay.
Peace. No,
I-
okay. You said that, right? You said that. Why?
Okay. Well, I mean, I honestly I do identify with both of them, but I think down to the core, I really do identify with Maya because she's all about, empowerment. She's about forgiveness, and she's about, all things that
Wow.
everyone goes through in life, and when they reach down deep into their souls, it's really, really important.
Wow.
And she's just awesome.
You really got so much EQ in you, Kat, huh?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Dude,
That's what I was
John
about
Joe,
to say.
you've been punked, man. You're full of shit, dude. You're full of shit.
What is going on?
Okay, wait.
John Joe, man, she called the wrong person.
See? She's not the girl in the back of the bus.
She's not. But the thing is, I'm such an idiot. I didn't know. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the girl behind the bus. She's probably the one in the back of the bus. Right?
Well,
Wait a minute, man. Because everyone's going to be watching this, right? And then they say,
That's
oh,
okay.
that's wrong, man. That's wrong. Okay.
Because yeah, if she's not the girl in the back of the bus, then she's the one that started the. Well, it's not Black Lives Matter, but she's the one that stood up towards Congress and the Senate in the U.S. Actually, you can see that in a new Netflix documentary.
You know what? I'm gonna Google that after this. Okay, next.
Yes.
Oh, you just mentioned this earlier, right? So, but I gotta ask. I mean, this is tough. This or that.
Wait.
I mean, wait.
I want to add. Kath skipped on a big part of how I actually met her and stuff. Kath, Coyote Ugly features hot girls selling alcohol and products and bartending. Weren't you a promo girl at some point when you started bartending?
Okay.
No,
I'm gonna step back for a while.
My girlfriend was partners with her.
Yeah. Actually, John Joe's girlfriend and I go back like
Wait. Partners? I mean, partners in business.
Oh, we can't mention the brand. Can't mention the brand.
No worries. No. Okay. I guess never mind. Let's move on.
Okay.
So you guys were in the same industry, and
For
that's
sure.
how you met. Okay.
Okay,
That's how you met.
but I have to give credit, okay, to that, because that is how I got started in bartending, to be honest. So there was a bar.
You found it really cool. I mean, these chicks really hot. They're behind the bar, they're dancing, and everyone's going crazy and wild in the bar. So you saw that movie and you said, dude.
No, it's actually not the movie. The movie came after. That's how much of a dinosaur I am. So, okay. So anyway,
The movie came years after it was happening.
John Joe, movies influence everyone. When Top Gun, remember Top Gun, right? The first Top Gun, right? And then everybody had those glasses on, right? What do you think? The sales of Ray-Ban went through the roof because of that.
Yeah, but
everybody wanted to look like Tom Cruise, even if they didn't.
With Coyote Ugly though, it was art imitating life, because at the time that Coyote Ugly came out, you had a lot of promotions by big liquor brands. In fact, they even had some did you remember the ice slides? They will go to bars, but you will know this. This is during Razorback gigs. Women ladies, not chicks, women would show up with giant ice slides, and then it's a free shot, but you have to kneel down. They'll hold
And
one
take the
girl
shot.
will hold the glass slide
Wow.
at the ice slide, and then they'll pour a bottle, and then it will slide down, and everyone will be cheering you on. And then
Wow.
it came to a point that they were putting alcohol in syringes.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
open your mouth. It's a free shot, but you have to be in video or in photos. Like,
But you see that I mean that movie could be ugly compared to Cocktails, right? Tom Cruise. That was more of a whole show thing, right? It was not. Was it really about mixology? Not really. It was about performance.
Let's go back to my start. Okay, so my dad is German,
Right.
and he was like, okay, you're 18. I have to financially cut you off. You can live in my house. You can eat my food. But for everything else, you need to make your own money. It was a very European thing. You have to go out and work. I cannot spoon feed you anymore. Not
Right.
like the Filipino culture where, you can live in your parents' house until you're 35 years old, and, like.
or 40.
Hey!
Yeah.
Everybody.
Good. How are you?
All right. All right.
Are you gonna play us some music later when Kath is
Yes,
mixing?
please. We've got to hear it. We've got to hear it.
I'm playing golf at 6 a.m. tomorrow. But I'll have a drink with you guys right now.
So you were saying.
He just likes to be, he's really a showman. He likes to like, hey, what's up? Anyway, so like, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to school. I'm going to college. I don't have any idea how I'm going to make money. And a friend of mine said, if you want to bartend, I can get you this job at this place. So this place, can I name the place?
Sure. I don't think it exists anymore.
It doesn't. It was right in front of what's that school in near Don Bosco?
Abby G's. Is this Abby G's?
No, the place was called Mustang Sally.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, Mustang. And that's
from the song, right?
The Coyote Ugly bar. When you go there, the girls on the bar.
Yeah. So, I was 18, 19 years old, and I go there, and of course they're like, okay, you have to know how to dance on the bar, to Mustang Sally, that song, right? And I learned it on the job. And then what really triggered me is that, while we're there behind the bar, it's so easy to give beer, so easy to give shots of tequila. But this one guy was like, so I turn over to him and I'm like, oh yeah, let me take your order. And he goes, no, I don't want you. I want him to make my drink. And I think John Joe knows who I am. That really pissed me off. I was like, I took that challenge and I said, I don't want to be dismissed like that ever again. If I'm going to be behind this bar, I want to know what the fuck I'm doing.
Good.
So that's where I bought all my books. That's when the passion of mixology and learning all these cocktails really stemmed from just that.
It triggered a challenge, right? And then that's it. This is not a man's job, right? I mean, it's you gotta do it.
I put myself in that situation. I was wearing like those revealing tops and I was dancing on the bar. It was so much fun.
That's cool.
But also I wanted to be like, I'm a girl that can dance on the bar, but also knows how to make a killer drink. And I think that's where it started from. And then from that,
Wait. Since we're here, there's one thing about the cocktail culture that we have to talk about. Boss, you keep bringing up Cocktail with Tom Cruise. And the thing about that movie is called flaring. And flaring is actually the exhibition tossing of the bottles.
Fridays, right? Didn't we have a lot of fun with Fridays, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, John Joe just froze for a second.
Okay.
We'll give him a chance to come back.
But
Okay, there. Now you're back. You're back. Go ahead.
So
You were saying.
flaring is actually part of the culture, but it's more of exhibition and not actually concocting a drink. Flaring, you can actually buy plastic bottles and practice and use
I
that.
have
And
that. I will show you. I have it right.
there you go. See, because they have weights. So you have 1 liter, 750 ml plastic bottles that you can drop.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so you practice those tricks. That
No, because some of them are really cool. I've seen these flares. I mean, wow, right?
These are Flair Bartending Association product. So when you drop this, it doesn't break. It bounces.
Oh, cool. But it has the same weight and feel of a real bottle.
For sure. It even has a spout where you can actually add liquid to this and then you can pour out of it.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
if you go to bars like Fridays at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, you'll see bartenders practicing. You'll see them outside or in the back practicing that.
So they've made it a competition against bars and things like that, and bartenders, and it's gone even international, right?
Yeah, it's an added flair to the show of the whole bartender thing.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, go.
Moving on.
I have to add that I think Filipino flair tenders are really the best in the world. I have to say, because it really, I think, I do have background in flair tending, but it's just not my style. I'm more about guest interaction. I'm more about flavor. But the beauty of flair tending, and especially early on in my career, it was there because it really helped Filipino people find jobs out of the Philippines. When you know how to flair, you work on cruise ships, you work in hotels abroad. It really, I swear to God, I think maybe 80% of the time, if you go on a cruise liner, it's always a Filipino who's like flaring
behind the bar. Yeah.
And they really are so talented. And because, Filipinos really do have the best smiles and they really are.
Yeah. And you get attracted to, watch and get your cocktail from them.
Yeah, for
Moving
sure.
on. Kath, this or that?
Oh, definitely that. For sure. That.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, why?
I'm all about precision. I'm all about consistency, and you really need to have that, your jigger, to make sure that every single cocktail that is put out to your guests, it's exactly the same every single time.
Okay. What do you call the one on the left? A spoon, a bar spoon?
Yeah, that's a bar spoon. And this particular bar spoon has a muddler in the end. You can see.
So you can crush it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But why do all bar spoons have a twisted stem? It looks like a corkscrew. Why?
Well,
I always wondered why not straight spoon like the ones you use for halo-halo, right?
Well, basically it's aesthetic. Number one, it's aesthetic. It's also an additional tool. So if you're gonna make lemon twists, you can twist it around your bar spoon, right? And also you can pour liquids into your
That's
drink.
the one I was waiting for, because my friend taught me that, right? Gin and tonic in Spain, right? So the guy behind the bar starts using the stem of this spoon, and it doesn't drip out. It just stays on the stem until it reaches the glass, right? Yeah,
Right.
Pretty cool. But see, things you learn, right? Things you learn.
But what Kath was saying is that it's a precision shot. Kath, what on the 4-second rule? The 1, 2, 3, 4 is approximately the same as one shot, one full jigger.
So they all come the same way? There's what is it? And 1 ounce, half an ounce? The different sizes.
Okay, so so you have your standard jigger here. Okay, this is basically they do, if you can see, there are lines inside.
Okay, there you go.
There are guides to help you, right?
Okay.
So that you can always be precise. But the ones that have no lines, basically one side is 1 ounce, which is 30 ml, and then the other side is sorry, 2 ounces or 60 ml, right?
Okay, why is it that when they pour, whenever, you know, mixologists or bartenders pour using the jigger, they have
Yeah.
this, why do they use, why that and not just pour it like you would, you know,
Well, you know,
a
it's like
normal
it's
drink?
so when you have it in your hand like this, it's like a part of your hand already, you know.
So you use
So you can pour
the
it and then
flair.
you can still hold on to it basically.
Okay.
So when you're pouring
Okay.
it, you hold on to it. It's still attached to your finger, really. So you don't have to put it down.
I'm gonna totally fail behind the bar, man.
And more,
You know, you have
more,
this,
yeah.
you have it in between these two fingers so that
Right.
you have space with your thumb to hold on to your bottle, right?
Also, there's a reason for okay.
Yeah.
It's not just the flair. There's a reason
Yo.
for it.
Oh,
Okay,
and
okay.
and some people use the bottom part for syrups. Diba? Some people
Yeah.
use the syrup, and then the top part is for your alcohol. So you also don't mix it. So you don't dirty up your
Baka
jigger.
bola na naman yan.
You know, you know, it's what was I going to say? It's for me, it's you have what you call your simple flares so that you are always efficient behind the bar. It's all about efficiency.
No, because you gotta move, right? You gotta move fast,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Okay, so let me ask you, timing. How long should you take you to make a cocktail?
Huh. Okay,
I
so
mean, you know what I mean? If a guy orders it, it's gotta be in front of him or her in how many minutes?
you know, okay, I do a lot of training.
Right.
I'm sure, I'm not sure if you guys know, I don't do a lot of bartending these days, but I have had a lot of experience, years of experience already to have classes and seminars to teach the next generation about efficiency and time,
Right.
and that everything should be in front of you. So I always tell my bartenders, you know, when you are behind the bar, 80% of the time it's dead. All you are doing is mise en place. All you are doing
Which
is
is a French term for cooking. I mean, I hear that
Yeah.
chefs, right? Isn't that the same thing when you have a preparation or something, right?
So mise en place means you're just prepping everything. So mise en place means you're squeezing all the lemon juice, you're making all the sugar syrup, you're shining all the glasses, you are cutting up all the lemons or whatever, everything. 80%. It's only the 20% when people start coming in and then you're busy. Boom, 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 boom. Right?
Makes sense.
So that means that you have prepped yourself to succeed and, you know, turn out drinks like this.
Yeah.
That means you've done your job. Now, there's no excuse. My one pet peeve is that when I see that it's a busy bar and someone like only prepped like maybe a small bottle of lemon juice, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I know for a fact that you've been here since 5 p.m. and now the bar is busy. It's 12 midnight and now you're squeezing lemons. You should have
done that a long time ago.
Yep. It should be
the
all
whole
in prep.
day. You know, it's a Friday night. You have to make like, you know, 2 liters of lemon juice for Christ's sake. You know, and have that ready because that's that is the time that matters the most. So
okay, next slide. Kath, this or that?
Huh.
John Joe loves this superhero stuff, right? I gotta
look,
hear.
look at my background. I got all of that.
I know, but I want to know who Kath would pick, this or that?
This, for sure. This.
This.
That's right. When I asked what's her frisbee name, she's Fat Cat.
Okay, so
it's
got to do with the name, of course. I should have thought about that. Okay.
Come on, I'm the bar
Tell me
dominatrix.
about this.
Oh my God.
Okay, Kat, that's far cry from how you look today, right? I mean,
Wow.
the hair and
Wow.
all of this. But yeah, tell us about this. So this was your yearbook?
Yes, this was my senior. This was my senior year.
Wow.
And okay, you see my profile pictures on the side, on the left
Yeah,
hand side.
yeah,
Ever,
yeah.
ever since I was 7 years old, I already knew, and I already wanted to be an artist. So I was a painter, I was a sketcher. That's what I really wanted to do for the rest of my life. That was really my
And
calling. So
I'm
I'm holding a
reading.
paintbrush right there. That's a paintbrush. I
That's a
was really,
paintbrush. And you were in
yeah.
the basketball varsity team because of your height,
Oh,
for
geez.
sure. It says
I
there.
guess so. Yeah, I was no good at it. I wasn't good.
You
I
were
was
in drama. You were in drama club, so you could have been an artista full on, right? Did you ever do a movie?
Uh,
I mean,
no,
I'm
I
sure
was,
you were approached like, by some agent. Gusto mo maging
yeah, but
sa
Iha, gagawin,
commercial,
iha,
pang Colgate or pang
sisikat ka,
whatever,
iha.
right?
Pasisikatin
Jojo,
kita,
you nailed
iha.
it. You definitely nailed it. So
Holy
many,
shit. But yeah, I'm sure, you've been approached, right? By these
for sure,
agents, right? Oh my
for
God.
sure.
Man.
I was, I knew all the, who are they, Jojo? You have to remind me. I'm sure you know who they are.
Pretty sure. Iho, pasisikatin kita. Tanggalin mo t-shirt mo.
I was part of the same group of girls that the promos, the promo girls, and they were part of the the shucks.
It's like
They were so sikat in like the Bold Star movement, like
Okay,
what
yeah,
they were
yeah.
the group of girls. I don't want to name names. I'm
It's-
just
Yeah,
not-
don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. But
But-
that's the past. That's the past. Okay.
But they
this
all
is your
asked me to
look.
be a part of it. I was like, no,
I have to, I have to ask you. So this has been your look, Kat, since I've met you. You had that, all of your,
It's
all your
bohemian. It's
bartending.
a little
No,
bohemian.
but the one thing that never leaves you is the hair. What do you call it? A bandana? What do you call it?
the headband. Yeah.
The headband, a bandana, headband.
Right.
Okay, so let me try and guess where you got that from, right? So you tell me if this is spot on, John Joe.
Maya Angelou.
Boom!
Hello.
Am I right or wrong? Is that it? I was like, dude, don't mess with me, right?
I feel like my look is incomplete without it. I need to have some.
No, that's
something
good.
in
That's
my
good.
hand.
Yeah. That's your identity. You don't mess around with the identity. You've got that. Now you have something to show us, Kat.
Yes.
Make us something. Make us something with the crow's gin in your hands.
Yes. Specially delivered today.
Okay, so Kat, what is that? What's in front of you? I see
Okay,
potions or some eyedroppers
Potions.
or whatever.
Some potions. Some gayuma right here. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to talk about how even, let's say, even before, ECQ happened, the trend of highballs, it was really like, that was the trend for this year, the highball. Because the highball is really...
Where is it from? Where did it originate from, highball?
Well, highballs are just
The glass.
really easy to make. It's just a tall glass like
It's
this.
it's not a drink. It's not a kind of drink. It's the glass. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
it's both basically.
Okay.
So a highball, you don't have to shake it. You have a
Okay.
tall glass, right?
Right.
And also the trend this year was all about low ABV cocktails. So
Okay.
when you add like a soda, or you add tonic, or you add some some ginger ale, you lower the ABV. So
Right.
the highball is really refreshing because you add about 30 or 40 ml of spirit, then you add ice, and then you can add a soda, and then you can add an enhancer, like you can add a syrup, or you can add some lemon juice or calamansi. And then we have other enhancers here to help, change your highball a little bit.
So, Kat, just so that like coming from a brewer, we're held by the different type of variations of hops and malts. So for a mixologist, bartender, I mean, in terms of syrups and garnishes, I mean, sky's the limit, right?
Right, for sure.
So and you were mentioning when I saw you today, you said that you were growing some stuff that you could work with, some herbs in the garden, right?
What I have here actually. So a neighbor, a very kind neighbor, these days we're all about growing, stuff that is easy to grow in your garden. And now I have what you call like, I think it's called like, anyway, it smells like a lemon.
Okay.
Like, smells just like a lemon. It's beautiful. It's fragrant. It's like almost like a combination of like mint and a lemon. It's fantastic,
interesting.
right?
Interesting.
So you just rub a little bit of it in your hand.
It's like citronella?
Almost like it. Yeah. Oh, just almost like citronella. And then of course I have some tarragon here.
Okay.
Some fresh tarragon. Yeah. Nice. So I just picked it today. And then I'm all about sustainability. Even for the past 2-3 years now, I'm all about being sustainable and using whatever you have rather than sourcing things that you don't have. Like, why make a strawberry syrup when we don't have strawberries readily available?
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So like, maybe my next door neighbor has like some green mangoes that I can just kind of chuck from their tree and make something, make an infusion for their green mangoes, and later on use the seed to grow my own mango tree. Really, it's all about sustainability. It's about zero waste.
Okay, well, we want to see that highball get created.
All right, so we're gonna add about, since I'm the one going to be drinking it, I'm going to be putting 45 ml.
Very generous.
Yes, like a very nice, generous pour, right? Okay, of this wonderful, wonderful gin.
Yeah, baby!
I've been thirsty for the entire ECQ. You saw my post where I was
I did. I saw your post.
My last ounce.
Ding, ding, ding.
Gosh. So then we add some ice. We'll add some ice in. I'm a bartender, but I don't have the best ice. You got to work with what you've got,
Of course, I mean, it's good that you're doing this because, the people at home, I mean, don't have the best ice either, right? So we're going to do it, use what we have, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
So, right. So, I made some ginger syrup because it was easy and it's what I have at home. And for the people here at home who don't drink alcohol, I would have made it like into a ginger liqueur, but the ginger syrup, you can put it in your tea, if you're not feeling so well, especially
that
these
actually
days.
Sounds yummy. Ginger syrup.
So it's chunks of ginger boiled in water. Do you add sugar?
Yeah.
Yeah, you add sugar. So, it's 1-to-1 sugar and water. Then you add your freshly grated ginger. And you just leave it in the pot like overnight. And then when you're ready, you can just strain it the next morning. And then you have this beautiful color. You can see it.
Yeah, it looks, wow.
It looks whiskey. It's like whiskey.
I thought it looks like whiskey. Yeah,
smells
nice.
Lovely, right? So you just
put that?
Yeah, I already measured it. It's about 20 ml you put in there. Okay. And of course, now it's very sweet. And what you want to do to balance it out, you add something citrus. So I have, I just kind of looked in what I had in the fridge right now. So I had like some dayap, I had some calamansi.
Oh,
I
yum.
I
Diet.
put it all together, and then this is about 1 ounce, so I just put it in there.
You know that diap is so, thank God we used it, for Ole, which is our new session ale there. John Joe showing off the Ole. And the star of the show for that craft beer is the diap. I mean, it really makes a difference for a session ale.
I'm
Yeah.
dying to try it.
Oh yeah, you'll get it.
So to top off a highball, you just need to add some, well, in this case, some tonic, something nice and like, what's the term, like bubbly and
Carbonated.
fuzzy,
For the carbonation, yeah, the
carbonated,
carbonation.
so you
Well,
just
I have
top
to
it
ask
off.
you, Kat, because right now there are a lot of people like straying away from tonic water because you really don't need the quinine, right? So you can just get soda water. Or does it
Yeah.
really make a difference? Does it make a difference?
You
Do
know,
you use soda water to tonic water?
to me, I'm all about what you prefer,
Okay.
I
It's a personal thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, okay, let's finish this, then I can talk
Yeah.
about more about that. So you just add your straw, and then in this case, I have this beautiful, like, lemon. So
Lemony. Yeah.
you just tap it to
Take the
release all
oils.
the
Yeah,
essential
you
oils.
spank it to wake it up.
Spank it, baby.
Remember, I'm the
Yeah.
dominatrix here, so spank it.
That's right. Whip it, dude. Whip it, man.
Yeah. So you just look how pretty that looks. You just put that in there. And then what I like to do, so I have these bitters that I collect. And this one is a Thai green chili bitters.
Wow, cool.
So, the Thai green chili will just bring out the ginger a little bit more and also enhance the botanicals.
I really want to try that cocktail right now, John. So I don't know about you. I want to
You just
down
add
that
a little
thing.
bit on top.
Is it an oil or a syrup?
This one?
Yeah.
No, it's these are bitters. So they're kind of like they're botanicals and they're herbs that you put in a tincture with some alcohol in there. So
Nice.
to preserve it. And it's kind of like a concentrate. So like bitters I would describe as like your salt and pepper to the food.
Uh-huh.
Right?
But it's aged. Because I'm thinking about making some bitters now while I have all this time in my hands in quarantine.
Actually, it's not necessarily aged, really. It's really more of the process of how it's made. And you extract all these oils and the flavors and the herbs, and then you put it in this tiny bottle. And it's so concentrated, right?
Yeah,
so,
I gotta smell that, man. That's yeah.
I
I'm
have a
very
lot.
curious.
I have all these lovely goodies, and so there you
So that
go.
was very simple, right? I mean, anybody
Super
can.
easy.
Okay, we don't have those bitters, right? But I mean, it's a simple, drink to make, people have to start getting out of the whole gin and tonic thing. You can fix the camera again so that at least we get you into the shot.
Delicious.
There, back to where it was.
Well, okay. Back to the gin and tonic. Tonic versus soda water. Soda water doesn't have sugar, kasi. The problem with cocktails is if you have syrups to compensate for the lack of sugar, then it's okay. There's a rise recently of people who don't like tonic because they're getting into the keto diet. They're being sugar conscious, but yeah, it still works if there are syrups, I think.
Actually, there are surprisingly, a lot of people who are not aware of tonics being
Hi, Denise!
My assistant. I know. Wait, here, I'll unplug.
Hello, Denise! Hello!
I'll order Biko.
Yes, please!
Off topic, I'll order.
I'll order
Where's
Biko.
my server? Where's my server?
On camera.
Where's the beer with the hand that
No,
comes
wala.
out?
He's got a golf game.
Hi,
Damn.
Kath.
I'm in the wrong side of the screen. Hi. Damn.
Hi.
Hi.
It's cool, man. It's like a reunion for you girls, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Are you
Love
guys?
it.
So you know,
Recording.
anyway, like,
So
you
you're
know, with
starting-
tonics, people don't know that it's super high in sugar. Actually, a lot.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. But I mean, when you look at the whole bottle, it says a number of grams of sugar, right? But yeah, you have a point. So a lot of people have been looking for the zero sugar tonics. So might as well just go soda water. Might as well, right?
You know, yeah. Soda water, what it does, especially with carbonation in the drinks, you know, the bubbles bring up all that lovely aroma.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
sometimes
Makes sense.
when I make a cocktail, I'm like, something's missing. Everything tastes great, but there's something missing. You just add that splash of soda in it, and you're like, oh, this is
The whole thing
this
just kicks up. Yeah.
It just like opens it up, and it's wonderful.
Is it like when bartenders infuse smoke? Because there are the smoke makers, but parang it's like a small fog machine for bars.
Yeah.
And then they infuse a woody taste. Sometimes
Yeah.
they put a sweet taste. So that's what elevates it over what you have already in I'll just call it flat drink. Since there's no carbonation, it's technically flat.
Right, for sure.
Do you
Yeah,
have,
I mean, it's just there's so much to do, and you know, we've gone over an hour, and it's crazy. It's never enough time. There's so much to talk about. But Kath, thank you so much for joining us at Crow's Talk, and I hope you join us again for maybe a part 2 because we can slice this in so many different ways.
Yeah,
there's so much
sure.
to talk about. But you know, today it's about you. It's learning who you are and what makes you tick. And I think we got a little bit about you today.
a little bit.
I think John Joe knows a lot more. Which, you know,
We should get Denise on here. She knows a lot more.
Yeah, and then you guys can bartend for us.
Oh, really? You mean bartend?
She brought me my beer.
Dancing on the bars? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, and cheers to you.
Thanks for
you know,
having me.
and hoping that everything towards the future you can still pursue your passion, right?
Oh,
I mean, there's so much.
while I'm still young, you know,
Exactly.
I hope so, you know. It's
Hey.
I was so looking forward to your, you know, your projects, you know, that we
I
had
know,
like
exactly.
actually you bit a bullet right there.
I know. That's for another show. And to that, Kathryn Eckstein.
Yo.
Cheers to the Stein.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.